Hi, I'm Steve Richards, one of the pastors at Messiah Church in Plymouth, Minnesota. And I'm inviting you once again to my basement studio here at home. I missed last week because for 2 days I was at the Mayo Clinic. And no problem, really. I just felt it was time for an annual physical, though in my case, it had been nearly 4 years since my annual physical. And aside from the exam, there were blood tests, my heart was checked, my breathing. I wore a blood pressure monitor for a day. And the end result, according to the doctor, was that not much had changed in 4 years, with one big exception. The number, he said, that had changed and was having an impact on all of the other numbers was my age. Now, there's a formula that is used to determine one's risk of having a heart attack or a stroke. And my risk is a bit higher than it ought to be for mostly because of my age. And sadly, it's the one thing I cannot control. And I'd like to, because if I could reduce my age, all of the other numbers would immediately improve. Well, I left the visit with my doctor knowing I had some work to do. But first, I had to accept what I can control and what I cannot control. The problem is, I'd like to control everything, especially what I cannot control. You remember the story of Adam and Eve? It's a story about control. They were living in this garden paradise where everything a person could want was provided except for the fruit of one certain tree. They were told they must not eat the fruit from that one tree. And of course, that becomes the fruit they want more than anything else because they thought it would give them ultimate control over everything. And they become fixated on the forbidden fruit. Eat it and you will have control. You can be as powerful as God. And that's tempting. You know, there's so much in our world and in our own lives we cannot control, but that doesn't keep us from trying. You lose your job. The coronavirus forces your kids to stay home and attend school via the internet. Your parents go through divorce, or you do. Your doctor says it's cancer, or a friend doesn't want to be your friend anymore. Or you find yourself worrying about the money you don't have. We'd all like to live in a place where we could control everything, where that wave or the undertow doesn't knock us off our feet. But there's no place like that. We are not in charge of everything. Now, it doesn't mean we don't try. In fact, I'll try to control you and you will try to control me. And what happens when we try to control what can't be controlled? We get angry and selfish and frustrated. We start blaming and shaming and trying to manipulate the people around us with disastrous results for them and for us. It's how relationships are destroyed. But it doesn't have to be that way. In one of his books, Henry Nouwen describes something he learned from friends who were trapeze artists. One thing they told him is that there is a very special relationship between the flyer and the catcher on the trapeze. The flyer is the one who lets go, and the catcher is the one who catches. And as you might imagine, this relationship is important, especially to the flyer. I mean, when the flyer is swinging high above the crowd on the trapeze, the moment comes when he must let go. He arcs out of the air, absolutely no control. I mean, his job is to remain as still as possible and wait for the strong hands of the catcher to pluck him from the air. And the secret is that the flyer must never try to catch the catcher. The flyer must be still and know the catcher will catch him. He must wait. He must trust. And you see, the antidote to control is trust. We need the wisdom to know where to put our trust and then let go and focus on what is truly within our control. See, the end result from last week's physical, what I'd like to be able to control, I cannot, but I have work to do on the things I can. So today, if you're in a place where you're struggling with control, maybe you have financial problems you cannot change, or you have job problems, or no job at all. Maybe things are not going well at home or with someone you love. Or maybe an addiction has a grip on your life or the life of someone you love. Then hear this prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I'll see you next week. God bless.